If you wish to rule, show them you do not waver.
That's not comfort. That's stage direction. And it might be the single most telling line Daemon Targaryen has ever delivered in this entire show. Because it tells you exactly who's actually running this scene. And it isn't the woman sitting on the throne. It's the man standing just behind her, coaching her through the performance of becoming queen. So what makes this scene, Rhaenyra's arrival in King's Landing, Otto Hightower's execution, that long walk to the Iron Throne, one of the most quietly devastating pieces of television this show has ever given us? I mean, of course I'll talk about all of that in detail, but first, we need some context. It's the first time we hear her try on the actual language of a queen instead of a claimant.
Bring Aegon, the usurper, to me.
Within the hour, we're going to watch exactly how far apart that language is from what she's about to do. Because Aegon is gone, which means the person Rhaenyra actually wants, the usurper, the reason for all of this, isn't there for her to punish. And when you take away the man a new queen needs to make an example of, someone else has to stand in for him. That's where Otto Hightower comes in. He's been rotting in the dungeons since the Season 2 finale, a gift left behind by Larys Strong. And Daemon finds him almost by accident while hunting for Aegon. The first thing worth noticing here is Daemon's face when he realizes who's been sitting in that cell. He's barely holding it together. He's practically giddy. This is a man who spent years getting outmaneuvered by Otto Hightower at every turn. And now that old hatred finally gets to become useful. Otto, for his part, doesn't beg. Dragged in front of Rhaenyra, his first words are almost bored.
I assume everyone else is dead.
Even in chains, he's still performing the same cold, unbothered competence that made him Hand of the King under 2 different kings. He's not going to give her the satisfaction of watching him break. And this is where Daemon does the thing I think is the real center of this scene. He doesn't kill Otto himself. He could. We watch him kill Jasper Wilde in the same breath, quick and clean, like he's swatting a fly. Practical, almost bored. But he wants Rhaenyra to do it. He leans in close and tells her the crowd is watching, that if she wants to rule, she can't waver. That's not affection. That's a lesson in optics. Daemon Targaryen, the same man who once burned down a brothel because someone insulted his brother, who spent 2 entire seasons acting on pure impulse, is now the one managing his queen's image for her. That's the through line I want you to actually hold on to here, because it's the real character study buried inside this scene, using his total awareness of how images work to manage someone else's, with his eyes wide open the entire time. Rhaenyra, though, isn't built for this yet. She tells Daemon quietly,
I don't know if I can.
And then she does it anyway, and she's bad at it. The first swing doesn't finish the job. She's crying, genuinely falling apart in front of a room whose loyalty depends on her looking like she isn't, and it takes a second swing to actually take Otto's head. I don't think that's a mistake on the writer's part. I think it's the entire point. Compare it to Daemon's kill in that same room. Instant, clean, barely a flicker of feeling. Rhaenyra's is the opposite, messy, human, visibly costing her something. This isn't a triumphant queen claiming her throne through righteous violence. This is a grieving mother forcing her body to do something it's rebelling against in front of an audience that needs her to look like Aegon the Conqueror and get something closer to Theon Greyjoy botching an execution instead. And if you remember what that botched beheading meant for Theon back in Game of Thrones, a terrible omen for exactly how his rule of Winterfell was about to go, it's hard not to wonder if this show is quietly telling us the same thing about Rhaenyra's reign before it's even started. And then there's the blood. There's so much of it on that floor, Otto's and Jasper's both, that Rhaenyra can't walk to the throne without stepping in it. Every footstep up those stairs leaves a mark. She pauses before she sits, touches the seat like she's not sure it's real, and then basically collapses into it rather than claiming it. Here's the detail that actually gets me, though. This isn't the first time this show has put blood on Rhaenyra's feet. Go back to Season 1, to the scene where she's forced to walk through the halls of the Red Keep with blood running down her legs after giving birth, paraded past the court as proof she's doing her duty as a wife and a womb. That blood marked her as property, evidence of what her body owed to the men around her. This blood is the opposite. This is blood she put on the floor herself, with her own hand, on her way to a seat of power that doesn't answer to anyone. Same image, same body, completely inverted meaning. That's not a coincidence. That's the kind of visual rhyme this show reaches for specifically when it wants you to notice how far a character has traveled. There's an idea this world has already taught us once, back in Season 1, that the person who passes the sentence should be the one to swing the sword. We watched Ned Stark live by that principle in the very first episode of Game of Thrones. Rhaenyra is following the same rule here, except twisted almost past recognition, because she isn't doing this out of principle. She's doing it because Daemon has convinced her that legitimacy has to be performed in blood, whether or not she actually believes that yet. There's a reason Machiavelli spent so much of The Prince arguing that a ruler sometimes has to act against decency just to hold on to the state. That's basically the entire thesis of this scene, playing out in real time on one woman's face. It's also worth saying this whole sequence is a real departure from the books. In Fire and Blood, Otto is simply captured once King's Landing falls and executed on Rhaenyra's order, not by her own hand, and not in some staged, watched spectacle in the throne room. The actual omen in the source material is different. Martin has Rhaenyra cut herself the first time she sits the Iron Throne. A small physical wound meant to warn us her reign is already cursed. The show swaps that out entirely. Instead of a literal wound from the throne, we get a self-inflicted moral one. She has to become a killer just to sit in that chair. I know changes like this always split the fandom a little, but credit where it's due. The writers have talked about keeping this kill deliberately messy instead of clean, and I think that instinct pays off. It's more disturbing, and it tells us more about who Rhaenyra is becoming than a tidy execution ever could.